In our reading this week, we move into the book of Psalms, and I am very excited about this. You know, the book of Psalms is a favorite for many of us, and I think there's a couple different reasons for this. One, there's a lot of rich theology in the Psalms. It is quoted over and over, actually, in the New Testament, and it's because of this rich theology. But it's written in a way that's very poetic and beautiful, so it's written not in a dry way, and I think that really helps us to understand God better and His ways better. Also, we see so much emotion in the Psalms, and this is probably the main reason that so many of us enjoy it. There's really just this wide spectrum of emotion. There's praise, there's thanksgiving, there's lament, and so it really speaks to our heart. Now, we're going to be in the book of Psalms for about 7 weeks, and so in the videos that are coming up, we'll get into different parts of this book, such as the structure and some of the main themes. But as we begin this great book, I really want to just give you 4 practical ways that you can use that I hope will help you as you read through it. And the first is this: it is a very emotional book, and so read it in an emotional way. And what I mean by that is, as best you can, try to put yourself in the situation of the psalmist. If he is crying out to the Lord, saying, "Lord, do you hear my cry?" Think of some of those times in your life where you think maybe the Lord was absent. If the psalmist is giving great praise, think about some of the times that the Lord has really blessed you, or maybe you've been in the worship service at church and you're just praising and singing to the Lord as loud as you can. One of the ways that I think will help kind of bring this emotion is to not always read all the Psalms silently. And so you may want to take some of the Psalms and read them out loud. This was actually used for devotional purposes, and that's how mainly we use it, but it was also a hymn book for the Israelites. And so they were saying it out loud, they were singing it out loud, and so I would encourage you to do something similar. Also, I would encourage you to mark different Psalms as you read along. And so you may come across some that are really just speak to you or really become a favorite of yours. And so circle that. Maybe make a notation of why it really spoke to you in the moment. And then you can go back to that in later weeks, later years, and you can go back to those favorite Psalms. Another way I think that you will benefit is to meditate on these Psalms. Now we see this in Psalm 1. It says that the blessed person meditates on God's Word. Now let me explain that word a little bit, because I think sometimes when we see meditate, we think, we're to clear our mind, not really think about anything. But that is not the way that the Bible uses that word. Actually, we are to fill our mind. And so it's interesting, in the Hebrew, it kind of has 2 references, or 2 meanings, if you will. And the first, it was used for animals, kind of this low growling, like a lion would growl, actually. And so what it's getting at is when you meditate, you're actually supposed to speak it. There's this kind of, you're muttering over and over. So as an example, maybe you had to give a speech at school, or maybe you have a speech at work, and you write it all out, or you type it all out. And this is sometimes what I'll do. And I take that sheet of paper and I go over it, and I'm saying it to myself over and over again so that I remember it. And this is what it means to meditate on God's Word. So you may take Psalm 1, for example, and read it and just say it to yourself over and over again. But also it was used to talk about a cow eating grass or chewing the cud. And so what would happen is a cow, it's enjoying life, it's eating the grass and it's chewing it and turns this into cud, and then it swallows it. Now the way that a cow's digestive system works is that cud comes back up, the cow chews it again, and then it digests it. So maybe not the prettiest picture, but you get the point, that we're supposed to chew on God's Word. And so in our reading, in the past, we've had days where some of our reading maybe took 25 or 30 minutes. With the Psalms, some of our reading may only be 10 or 15 minutes. And so it's going to give us more of an opportunity to meditate, to chew on God's Word. And so you may read it in the morning, and then you may have a few minutes at lunchtime, and you can think about one of the Psalms that really spoke to you. Maybe before you go to bed for night, you can again think about how one of those Psalms that you read really spoke to you and it really benefited you and blessed you. And then the last way that you can use the Psalms is in your prayer life. And so we're going to put Psalm 1 on the screen, and I want to walk through how you could use this Psalm for your prayer life. All right, well, Psalm 1 says this: "Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers. but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. So, to use this in our prayer life, let's circle the word blessed, okay? Let's also circle the word delight, and then let's circle the word tree and fruit. And so when we use this in our prayer life, the word blessed, or it can really be translated truly happy. And so you may say, Lord, I want to be truly happy. Lord, I want to be satisfied in you. And Lord, it says to be truly happy, to be blessed, that I'm to delight in your word. Lord, I don't always delight in your word. There are times when I struggle to want to read it, to want to study it. And Lord, I ask that you will continue to change my heart to, Lord, to desire you and the Bible, to, Lord, to know it better. Lord, it says that this person that is blessed and, Lord, that desires your word is planted like a tree by the stream of water. And so, Lord, that's this image of this tree being planted when the storms of life come, and it is strong and steadfast because they know you. Because, Lord, this person knows your word, and Lord, I desire to be like that. And then, Lord, it says that they have fruit. And so, Lord, in my family life, Lord, at work, I want to bear fruit. Lord, I want to continue to grow as a believer and to mature in my faith. And so we can take that psalm and work through it. And so I would encourage you, just as you read different ones, if you struggle like I do to pray, take a psalm and just work your way through it. And I think the Lord will bless you and really encourage you in that. Well, again, I am very excited as we take this journey through the book of Psalms. It's almost like a series within this Every Word All Year. And as it says in Psalm 1, the person that loves God's word will be truly blessed and truly happy. And I think as we work through it, the Lord will bless us in this way.